Today on the show, it's all about that snicky snarl, Logan. All this and more on What the Hell Did We Just Watch? Welcome to another episode of What the Hell Did We Just Watch? I'm your host, Lumotional Lou, and this is the show, the only show that helps spread movie awareness and also TV awareness. So, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's had a great week and looking forward to another weekend. And yeah, I am too. I've been pretty beat. I've been pretty busy with my real life job. Yeah, as much as I want this to be my real life job, make it happen, people. Become more listeners. Listen, like, subscribe, just remember to do that and comment, like, and share. You know how it is. I'll give you the formalities at the end of the show, but onward to the film of this episode is Logan.
As I live and breathe, the Wolverine. I need the girl.
What is she?
She's R&D gone mad. Oh my guns. You're not the only one spinning hands.
Logan, she needs our help. She's very much like you.
Let's not bring out the worst in each other.
Now, I don't want anyone to get confused with what I'm about to say here because, it's going to get a little tricky, and if you have seen the X-Men franchise within the last 17, 18 years of your life, like I have invested into it ever since I was a teeny weeny, 21-year-old guy. Now I'm a very, very old 37-year-old man, guy or boy, whatever the hell you want to fucking call me. So it's going to get a little fucking wanky over here, and just try to keep up, you know what I mean? And just, if you have any questions, like I said, if you have any comments to what I'm about to say, you know where to leave it, okay? At the very, very bottom there, or on my social media sites, or on my email. But before the formalities, I want to get into Logan. Now, the film is great. The film is very good, but let's go with the good stuff. The film is very good as a standalone movie. It stands on its own 2 feet. It's great. I like the setting. I like what the movie's about. I like what they're doing. It's not memorable by any means. The plot, I don't believe is very memorable at all. But I do like, it's just a standard, simple film that I don't know who the fuck chose it. If it was Fox or Mangold and Hugh Jackman, helped them figure it out or something. I'm not really sure where it went, but in terms of the making of this film, it's the least amount that they spent to make it out of all the other X-Men films. It's the most simplest one that they've ever made as well. I mean, and they did that on purpose. Why? Because they're not going to press too many buttons on making this, because of the fact that they made this film a rated R film. Thank you, Deadpool. Or not thank you, Deadpool. And I'm going to get to that. Why? It's I hate you, and that's awesome at the same time. It has its negatives, trust me, when I tell you. But Mangold convinced whoever he needed to convince that it needed to be a rated R movie. Personally, I think it was because of the hype of Deadpool. That's what I'm trying to say. There is no reason why Wolverine needed to be rated R. It didn't really need it. I don't understand why they thought it did. Even with the quote unquote kills, and I'll get to that in a moment. But back to what works. You know what I mean? The plot, it wasn't memorable. It was fine. It told the story great. You have to be an idiot to fuck that story up. Why? Because they already told that story fucking twice already in the fucking Wolverine franchise. If you really pay attention, you're watching the same fucking movie twice. The Wolverine. The only thing that's fucking different, they changed the woman into a little girl, and they changed the woman that she is into a mutant little girl that happened to be her, which I hate this, but they called her his daughter. And I was like, bullshit, that's not his fucking daughter. You don't call that. That's like a nice way of saying that you're a test tube baby that is from my loins. You know, that's not his daughter. Okay. He didn't conceive her, you know, like a woman didn't have sex with him and have a kid. You know what I mean? That's what a child is to a person, not like the way that it was done. You know what I mean? That's bullshit. We're not going to start calling like Wolverine's, the general that gave him his adamantians his fucking father. We don't do that shit just because he was the one that gave him his fucking adamantians. Hugh and Patrick Stewart, they need no compliments, to be honest. They know how to do their role. They've been doing it for fucking 2 decades. So they kind of know what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? So, bravo to them. They did a good story. They ended their careers of being X-Men or being mutants, you know, with grace. And that's great. You know what I mean? Trust me, this film works. It by itself, as a standalone, it's a good movie. You know what I mean? So, and also the new actress, the girl that played X-23, the Spanish girl, she did great. If she continues to be like that, she has a great future ahead of her. She's a very convincing actress at a very young age that she is. I was enthralled by her. I was mesmerized by her. She acted so well. It's her first time acting, and she's a very convincing Wolverina. You know what I mean? X-23. She's very convincing, and I really believe that she was who she was when she was doing what she was doing, and she kicks ass. They made her kick ass very good. A little limited in terms of the fighting skills, but she did really kick ass. And most of her fighting came from her feelings, and that always helps. You know, because when you add your feelings, you add heart to your fight, it's gonna elevate the awesomeness to your story. Okay, so or to your fight sequences. So that's good. You know, let's see. What doesn't work? Because I think we already established that it's a good movie, and a lot of people did like it. I was one of the people that was going to like it, but I did tell my friends before I saw it that I'm going to like it. I know I'm going to like it, but I'm the one that's going to really, really have a hard time loving it, and I'm going to give it it's going to get its jabs and its blows, you know, and this is where the what doesn't work part comes into play. And one of the major things that doesn't work is that, unfortunately, though it's great as a standalone film, it's not a standalone. It's not a standalone film. It's part of the franchise, you know, and I've had conversations with certain people, not my friends, thank God, because they're not idiots, but there are people on social media that like to be misinformed, or they misinform other people, and they think that they're watching something very different. That's not a part of the timeline. And I say to them, I call out bullshit. And the reason why I call out bullshit is because you're watching Hugh Jackman play Wolverine. You're watching him be an old man Logan, old man Wolverine. You're seeing Patrick Stewart play fucking Professor X as usual. They're playing their roles that they've been playing for 20 years. How the fuck is this a standalone film when they have the same people they've had attached for 20 years in the franchise, you know, being their roles? How the hell is this a standalone film? You know, there are people out there that are watching stuff and they're not understanding what they're watching, and they're not understanding that they're watching a sequel. You know what I mean? To not only the Wolverine franchise, but also the X-Men franchise. You understand what I'm saying? You've watched 20 years of this man age. How the fuck are you supposed to connect with an old version of Logan if you haven't had 20 years of fucking Wolverine, of him playing Wolverine to fall in love with? If you did, you know, that weight of him fighting and him being Wolverine and him finding out who he is and all this and that, and then him living his last days as, you know, the person that he was. You don't get that from a standalone. You don't get that weight, you know, that hefty weight from a standalone. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like saying Iron Man 3 is a standalone and has nothing to do with Iron Man 1 or 2, especially Avengers. When we know that Tony Stark suffers from PTSD, where the fuck did he get it? in Avengers. So no, it's not a fucking standalone. Okay? Logan is not a standalone. And that's one of the things that hurts it. That's one of the things that hurts this entire franchise. And that's one of the things that hurts Logan in general. You know, because you have to. You know, there are people out there, oh, you know, don't worry about that stuff and just enjoy it. That's the reason why this show exists. I get Lumotional. And when Lumotional wreaks havoc, Lumotional starts nitpicking and he starts fucking, you know, loosening those strings and saying, but wait a minute. No. You can't just sit there blindly and enjoy just one when you've been sitting with 17 years of other fucking movies that they claim is are sequels, which they are, but they're shitty. The continuity is fucking shitty. I've never seen a franchise not give a shit so much. You know, and there are franchises that don't give a shit, but I think the X-Men franchise is literally the company that takes the fucking cake. They literally are masterful in the art of continuity errors and especially more not giving a shit, because there's no way that these people that have been working on this franchise for as long as they have, and there have been people that have come and gone, but there are people also in there that have been there since day one. Not just the actors, who can also fucking voucher for the fucking incontinuity error, but it's not their job to get a script correct, right? It's not their fucking job. You know, it's the fucking producer's job to make sure that shit is cohesive and fucking and has proper continuity. Okay? Marvel does not suffer from fucking this. And they've been doing a fucking franchise for, you know, not as long, but goddamn, it's been fucking like a decade over, you know, a little bit over a decade. So I think, you know, and to the fact that I can actually honestly say that there are no, you know, continuity errors in terms of like, you know, changing things up and, you know, out of nowhere coming up with some shit to say or to change, you know what I mean? Like, they're not doing that. And also DC, regardless of whether you like the movies or not, they're not suffering from this problem either. Okay? They're not having a problem with plot holes and where did this come from? You're making shit up as you go along bullshit, like the way that this franchise is doing. And I hate you for this. Whoever I have to blame, it's not Fox, but Fox, you own this franchise. Why can't you give a shit just a little fucking more than you should? You know, that's the reason why everybody else is succeeding and you are not. You are falling behind. And I don't care what anybody says. Though you like Logan, like I like Logan, but it did not meet the success standards that they thought it was going to have. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, it slightly made its money back in America. If it wasn't for overseas, they would have never had any real pull. But over here, it was a bit of a fucking flop. It wasn't what they were expecting. They were expecting way more. They were expecting Deadpool money. Why? Because everybody loves fucking Wolverine. But guess the fuck what? Look what Deadpool did. And look what Logan did. There's a big fucking difference. And there's no real, like, just because they curse, just because they both have fucking cursing, does not make it any better. It doesn't make it the same. Okay? It's the ability to put proper imagination in the Deadpool film, which I still hate the fact that Ryan Reynolds reprised this role because he's fucking up the timeline and people are getting confused because he played Deadpool in a very, very horrible movie called X-Men Origins Wolverine. That really fucking ticks me off. I hate that. Talk about like hating it. But the fact that Deadpool is not a part of the X-Men franchise timeline, thank God, I'm able to kind of like my brain is able to do it. And then on top of it, due to the fact that it is a great film, not because it fucking has horse talk and cursing and this and that. There's some improper bullshit that I didn't think is needed in Deadpool, but it still fits the character, it fits the story, it's told well. It's very simple, but it's told well. With Logan, all of a sudden him being able to curse out of nowhere after 17 years of fucking doing it, like, it's kind of ridiculous and it feels forced, like 80% of the time. You know what I mean? Like, he's saying like fuck, like he literally, I think he said like 15 to 20 fucks within the span of like a 2-minute time reel in the film. Like literally 2 minutes of film, he said like fuck like almost 20 times. Like the first thing I thought was like he's like a kid, or at least that the filmmakers are acting like children that are sneaking curses while their parents are like in another room or something. And then when they come in, they close their mouths with their hands, and then they go and they start laughing. You know what I mean? Because they got away with it. That's what it felt like at times. It's like, what the fuck? It feels so fucking forced. It like it sticks out. You know what I mean? And most people that have seen this movie pretty much agree with what I'm saying, because I've heard a lot of people say it's like, yeah, the cursing was a little bit unnecessary at times, and it feels forced. It doesn't feel natural at all. Just like Deadpool, it does not feel forced. It doesn't feel forced. It feels very natural. Him cursing, it comes out like it's written in there. That's why. Like with Logan, they probably wrote a PG-13 movie and then added cursing in there. You know what I mean? Because that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like at fucking times. You know what I mean? That's one of the major things that, and that hurts it a lot. You know, that's one of the major things that hurt the franchise and hurts the Logan film. It's not a standalone, so you can't, you know, like see it for what it is and it being by itself. You can't think like, oh, I'll just watch this and not give a shit about whatever it is that came before it. You can't do that. That it's not fair to the franchise. It's not fair to Hugh Jackman's career being that character Wolverine. So you got to put it all in. You got to put, you know, regardless. I'm not saying that the film is terrible. It's fine, but you got to understand like that the film, it hurt. Because of the franchise, this film gets hurt. It has a lot of weight on top of it, and it didn't deliver when it comes to that kind of stuff. Why? Because out of almost all the films that have been out, this one has the most like inconsistencies, which annoy the fuck out of me. Okay. Like it really, really did, you know, and one of them, like I could say this is actually not something of continuity problems, but this is something that I really, really can't stand. Out of nowhere, they want to fucking create that, Logan, Wolverine. The thing that they gave him to get, you know, to become more of a weapon is now killing him. He is having adamantium poisoning. What a load of shit. That is just like to me, that's some like, you know, the only people that they convince that bullshit are people that don't read the comics or that are not familiar with the comic book world of Logan or in general. Bullshit. I call bullshit on the fact that they couldn't figure out a whole nother way of him just age. What about just age? Fuck adamantium poisoning. You know what I mean? He has the ability to fucking heal. So now the thing that's poisoning him is also killing him. That's bullshit. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. You know what I mean? Like it's just, that's what I mean about, you know, these films like the X-Men franchise being too quote unquote real, because then you start like questioning all the comic book stuff about it. How can he have adamantium poisoning? Bullshit. So what does that mean for X-23? So she's fucked too because she's got adamantiums. Bullshit. Like that. So she, you know, so she has a death sentence as well. Fuck out of here with that. I didn't buy it. I did not buy it. Not one fucking bit. Not from the jump. You know what I mean? And that pisses me the fuck off. You know, and so I call bullshit on that. Like I said, one of the things that also doesn't work is that this is exactly the almost the exact same plot as the Wolverine. Okay, this and I'll point it out to you. Here you got Wolverine, right? Logan. He's a hermit. He's a hermit in both fucking movies. Okay, he gets taken to Japan to speak to an old dying friend. In this one, they just change it to he's taking care of an old dying friend, which is Professor X, mentor. You know, it doesn't matter, but they're both, he's visiting but he's taking care of Professor X, and he goes to visit some sick guy in Japan. Same shit. He, after that, this old man wants his powers. You know, so he can live again. If he doesn't want his powers, if Wolverine doesn't want his powers, that he would be willing to take it. All right. In Logan, the difference is that Professor X is asking him that he take care of this girl because she's very much like you. this is the similarity. Those are the two differences. He declines both of them. He doesn't want to do that, and he doesn't want to do the thing in Logan 2. Same shit. Then all of a sudden, he comes across a Japanese woman that all of a sudden he needs to take care of because she's wanted by, whoever. You know what I mean? It's been a long time since I see the Wolverine, but she's wanted. It's her head on a platter if he doesn't, help her and keep her alive. All of a sudden, X-23 comes out. She's also needed to be exterminated as well. A corporation wants her to take her away. Now he is falling on his lap. Now he has to go protect her as well. Same shit. Same fucking thing. Wolverine gets fucking poisoned in the Wolverine, which he can't use his powers. Logan is too old to use his powers. He has adamantium poisoning because why couldn't he get poisoned twice in 2 fucking movies back to back? Bullshit. You know what I mean? Same fucking movie. I'm pretty sure you get it. It's literally the same fucking movie twice. The only thing is, one of the major things is that one's rated R and one's not. Other than that, they just changed a couple of things around, but he's doing the exact same fucking thing in both movies. One movie he survives, the other one he fucking dies. So fucking what? That doesn't make it different. It makes it this, even though the same fucking thing. So shame on you, James Mangold. Shame on you, Wolverine. Hugh Jackman, for giving us the same fucking movie twice. I don't give a shit. You gave us the same fucking movie twice, back to back. Shame on you. You know what I mean? So fuck you for that, Fox and whoever was responsible for all that shit. You know what I mean? And that is just, and that's one of the things that hurts it in terms of the franchise. When you see it in one movie, you're not expecting it to see it twice, and you fucking do. You see it fucking twice. And, it boggles my fucking mind. It upsets the shit out of me. And it sends me into a emotional rage like X-Men Wolverine Berserk style, and I can't help but to just be a little bit annoyed by that shit. You know what I mean? But like I said, where does it stand in the X-Men universe films? If I had to, somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? Just somewhere in the middle is fine. I don't think it's better than X-Men, and I sure as hell don't think it's better than X2. There's nothing that Logan, brought out on the table that was like brand spanking new, other than the fact that he was able to get away with brutal kills because it's a rated R film. But it doesn't mean that I didn't see that already, because if I saw it already in Deadpool. Now, if Wolverine came out and he was beheading people and chopping people's arms before Deadpool was doing it, then Deadpool would have been a little bit hurt. And I probably would have liked it because it's a great script, but it's also something I've never seen. Logan would have had something over that. But the thing is, I already seen it. I already seen people be beheaded in a comic book movie. I already seen cursing in a comic book movie. So he didn't bring anything to the table. And X-Men did. X2 did as well. You know what I mean? So it's somewhere in the middle. And Days of Future Past just literally is the film that brought it back. It's not better. It has time travel. So it even has one thing that it brings new to the table. You know what I mean? So that's another thing that I wanted to bring up. This film, Logan, takes place 5 years after the corrected future of Days of Future Past. So the ending of it is good. They were able to, Logan did whatever he was supposed to do, and now it's 5 years after that. And I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for them. Also, Caliban. The shit about Caliban is one of the things that I wanted to fucking mention that pissed me the fuck off. It could have been anybody. You know what I mean? James Mangold. Why did you have to do that? Caliban was already in Apocalypse. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have aging things where he ages slowly or not at all. Okay, so it would be impossible for him to be, as old as he is, in that film. And it's not the same guy. And James Mangold, before I get to what I'm saying, there's like, oh, this bullshit. He looks older. Not the same guy. It's not the same. It's not supposed to be the same Caliban, is what I'm saying. And I don't give a shit about actors. I'm talking about the character itself. It's not supposed to be the same person. Why? Because if you look it up, it's quoted by James Mangold, you fucking asshole, which pisses me off because I hate people when they don't believe in the work that they're doing and it's just a paid check. You know, he says that, oh, it's such passion. It's not a fucking passion, especially when you fuck it up this much. Okay. There is a quote by James Mangold in an interview that he had about using Caliban, and that someone brought it up to him. It's like, yo, Caliban was an apocalypse. How do you explain the two characters? He was like, oh, you know, I wrote him in there, and then I didn't know that he was being used in another movie. That's a red flag right there. Do you think that, you know, the producers of the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the DCEU are having that problem? They're not having that problem. They're making sure that shit is fucking right. And a producer's, you know, that's the producer's job to make sure that that kind of stuff does not happen. Okay. You can't do that. And then he goes on and saying, it's like, well, I didn't know. And then I saw that he was in it, but then I wrote him in, and I guess he got lazy and didn't want to rewrite it or change the character, because it could have been so many fucking people. It didn't have to be Caliban. You know what I mean? So I don't give a shit what anybody says. It didn't have to be Caliban, you know? So he used it, and so he says, oh, well, fuck it. What kind of bullshit is that? It's one of the reasons why I don't fucking get into the Transformers franchise, because Michael Bay does not believe in the robots being characters themselves. You can also hear that too. There's a fucking quote of him saying that shit. You know what I mean? And I that's why the work is shitty. You know what I mean? Oh, to me, Emotional Lou gets pissed off when, you know, the bullshit that comes out of people's mouths doesn't match the bullshit that comes, that they create. You know, and that's where it's also a chink in the armor for Logan. You know what I mean? They did a much better job than Transformers. I'll give you that. You know what I mean? So, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, just blame Deadpool for that. But I also, you know, I blame Deadpool also for having Logan be a movie of cursing for cursing's sake, just so they can get a R-rating approval. What the fuck also was the deal with a woman in her bachelorette party flashing Logan? It's like, I don't know. It feels fucking forced. You didn't need that. There's shit in that movie that you didn't need. Logan could have been created, and it could have been a PG-13 movie, and trust me, you would have gotten the same thing. It didn't get the high rating and the high praise because he was saying fuck 20,000 times, and he got to see tits. Trust me, the movie was fine the way it was. And though the violence was great, don't get it twisted, but it also wasn't needed because it wasn't going to make the movie better. The violence does not make the movie better. You know what I mean? It doesn't. The movie was fine the way it was, story-wise, you know? And, you know, look, before I go, I just need to say one more thing. This franchise is so tired. It's tiring. It hurts my emotional brain. I'm sure like it hurts a lot of other people's emotional brains, you know, and there's nothing more annoying than having something just come out and enjoy it, but just see all the flaws in it, and it have major flaws to the point where it's just like, these things could have been avoided. Some of these things could have been avoided, but they don't care. And I'm here to say Emotional Lou does care. I give a shit. That's why I voice out this opinion, okay, with facts. Though it's an opinion, there are facts behind my opinion, okay? I'm not just throwing ass out there, bullshit out there. The fuck out of here, because I'm not that kind of person. I want to make sure that you are well-informed instead of misinformed, okay? Logan is not a standalone film. It is a part of the X-Men universe, okay? They talk about the Statue of Liberty in that film, all right? They talk about other things in there, like, you know, like things, you know, that make it connect, you know. They try to steer away from it, but it's not its own film. It won't be its own fucking film, all right? That's all I gotta say. I think I've talked way too much about Logan and all its fucking flaws. If you have something to say, if you have any comments, if you like to say something, you can do so on Facebook.com/WhatTheHellPcast, Instagram.com/WhatTheHellPcast, Twitter.com/TheHellPcast. You can also go on YouTube and comment, like, and share there. You can do it on SoundCloud, comment, like, share there. What the hell did we just watch? Just go right ahead and type in something. Let me know. Let me know what you really think. Let me know if you think that, you know, Logan deserves a bitch slap in the face for having a shitty continuity, you know, with everything else that came before it. Or about James Mangold, quote unquote, saying fuck it about the fucking franchise. If they don't give a shit about your franchise, then why should you give a shit about the fucking franchise, regardless of whether you watch it or not? You know what I mean? So, this has been Lumotional Lou. You can follow me, like I said, on those things. Comment, like, share. This has been Lumotional Lou. What the hell did we just watch? And I just got one thing to say from the professional appreciator. It's been Lumotional.